What up? What up? What hibbity hibbity hip hip hip? I don't know if we're live, but that's alright. Just living life and I'll be just fine. Gotta open and see the thing. Where the heck, where the heck, where the heck? Search on my YouTube. Do 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 do. Yes, we are too. Here to, here to. We're all cool in the YouTube arena. So, as you can tell from the title, humans are incapableized. Now, I know this is probably one of those cliche, obvious videos like, yeah, duh, humans are incapableized. Everybody's known that and been known that, but I'm about to go into some ways that maybe not a lot of people may pay attention to or realize that humans have become incapableized, and also reasons on why humans have become incapableized. I was pondering on it the other day because I was like, damn, like some of the things that I'd be saying, like it'd be like plain to see, like there is no more simpler way to put certain things. And like when I say it, it's like that is perfect common sense. But some I've noticed when I say some of these things, people do not think that is such common sense. They start to struggle and find it difficult. So it's very interesting my observations of how humanity has become incapableized, and I know exactly why. But before we get into that, a little freestyle is due for the 2-2. Okay, if you want to hear, I'm on my groove. I don't care if you want to see me move, because you know this is my freaking movie. Yeah, I don't care if you choose me or you don't, because I'm just here trying to be me and I don't see clear when I'm in the fog. Actually, I do, bish. I can really unclog the drain, unclog on my arteries, because when I see the true part of me, I will realize the truth that's in my eyes. Bitch, I don't believe the lies. I'm just here to motherfucking live life. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just here not to play, man. I'm just here to live life and have fun. But I'm also a little bit serious like the ones. Cause you know I drink coffee and I realize that it's all about your mental state of being. Don't cough, don't cause you know that I'm riding the wave like you're seeing. And I could care less if my freestyle sounds like crap. Cause you know it's Sagittarius Mercury. And that's the time you should be a little free. Act and think and communicate freely. Cause you know that everything could be just so happy. Cause you know that I'm just here free. Yeah. Mother heck, mother heck. So, you know, if you really pay attention to the little intricate details of the lyrics in the song, you can see that my bars are banging. You know, I may not be from America, but I can freestyle a little bit, a little bit, little bit, little bit. But I'm not trying to be like an American, so I don't foresee myself pursuing a rapping career. It's just not something that originated here on this soil of Australia that I grew up in, and the soil of New Zealand on which I was birthed. Okay, yeah, a lot of people may say, "Oh, well, actually, no, hip hop and rap is," but did it originate there though? Did it come from there, or is it popular there? You know, like these are the kind of questions I'll be thinking, and it's not about whether or not it's popular because I wanna get seen or anything. No, I want to do something that's more natural. I want to do something that's more in tune with the land, the atmosphere, you know. But I also tend to freestyle too. So, you know, and I think that it's important to do what you love as well. So, you know, sometimes you just got to blend things together. gotta make sure that you're having some kind of balance and not excluding or a few different sides of yourself, because just because you have other sides of yourself that you don't like doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad. Okay, you should use all your gifts and talents and use them to your best of your ability. All right, and that's how we can all evolve and grow as a species. Otherwise, just sit at home and don't be you, be fake, be snake, be trake. Get ready to rake, because you know that your mentality is going to go, for fuck's sake. So, if you want to go down that road, then I would highly suggest doing the things that I just suggested not to do. So, anyways, I seem a little bit crazy sometimes, but once you really start to listen to my video, you'll really start to say, oh my gosh, like, I'll be speaking all the facts, okay? Like, some people might not realize or know how factual things I'm saying are, but you will. Just stay tuned, okay? It's all linked, okay? It's all linked. Everything's linked. But if you just, see like 5 seconds of the video and then you just click off because you think it's dumb, like, you won't be able to see if it's linked or not. So there's a little cliffhanger for you, a little cliffhanger. Maybe you'll come around the next time and be like, oh my gosh, like, I want to see, is it all linked? Well, I don't really care if you do or don't, but I'm just spitting facts. That's what this is about. That's what I'm here for, because I'm here to be an example. I'm not here to be something that is related to some kind of animalistic energy, some desire, some lower nature, but I may come in the form of some lower natures that other people may not, so they might get a little bit deceived. They might think, oh, like, this guy, he don't look like he's shit at the end of the day. But like, that's like part of my disguise. Like, in actuality, I got some gold, I got some mental gold going on behind my brain, behind the surface layer, underneath, deep in the chasm of my soul. I got some wisdom, I got some knowledge. But like, you might just look at my views and you just might think, oh, like, he ain't shit. Like, but honey, I'm here to tell you, the views ain't shit. That's an actuality. They're probably fake. I bet you I probably have 10 people viewing me right now, and they're probably commenting, nah, that's a little bit unlikely. But I wouldn't be surprised either if it was the case, because these days on the internet, a lot of shit has been faked, and among humanity, a lot of things have been faked in general. So it's not really a basis for me to like put on like a pedestal as though like that means anything in my reality. You know what I mean? Like, in actuality, it shouldn't mean anything in general, like, because at the end of the day, like, you are you. The best thing you can do is be you, and if you don't be you, then what can you be? Like, maybe you're just going to be something fake or something phony, but that's not me. So I just want to be free. I just want to be free as a space, as a spirit can be. So what can you see that you didn't want to see? So in actuality, let's get to the topic of the video before I go too much off tangent with my little bit of a Gemini Mercury going on there. Because as well, we are Sagittarius Mercury right now, so I may be feeling like as a Gemini Mercury, because Gemini loves to talk, loves to think, loves to blah blah blah. But with Sagittarius and Mercury, Sagittarius is all about the experience. It's not about the talking, it's not about the thinking. It's about going through the experience and gaining the wisdom from the experience. You know what I mean? So Sagittarius Mercury wants you to go through the experience, gain that wisdom, and come out the other end like, oh, yes, I got the thing, and I know how to think and communicate effectively now. But if you just do the thinking and the communicating first, you're going to think, oh yeah, I know how to think and communicate. And then everything that comes out of your mouth, you might just sound like you're talking shit. Or it just might not be received well by everybody else. That's Sagittarius Mercury energy. All right, you need to be mindful not to be too blah, 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 too much talkity, especially if you're Gemini Mercury, Gemini Sun, Moon, or maybe rising a little bit. But yeah, just don't go too deep into that talkity energy, or that thinkity. Remember to go through an experience. With Sagittarius and Mercury, it wants you to go through the experience before, rather than anything. And especially because we got Sagittarius Moon, Sagittarius Sun, and I think we're in Sagittarius Moon. Might need to double check that. But yeah, with Sagittarius Sun and I think Sagittarius Moon, we got heavy Sagittarius energy right now. Okay, so the energies in the sky is imploring you to go through an experience to gain some wisdom rather than to stop and think and oh, is this the right thing to do? Oh, am I doing the right thing? Oh, should I? Does this make sense? You know, like no, Sagittarius is like a bitch, do it and learn after. It's like that, like think now, act now, think later kind of energy, and that's fire in general. Act now, think later. But Sagittarius and Aries are more so. Leo is a little bit more like slowly act now and think later, or take your time and act now and think later. But it's still act now. You know what I mean? Like, but at the end of the day, you know, with too much Sagittarius in the sky and the energies right now, you need to be mindful to be in harmony with the energy rather than to separate from that Sagittarian energy, which is wanting you to go through the experience and to have faith. That's why Sagittarius represents higher learning and spirituality in the ninth, with the ninth house being the ruler. So a lot of people will equate those things, but it's really just representing that space of expansion, of going through the experience when you don't think, when you just allow yourself to be in your state of being, right? You're falling down from the sky like a little raindrop, drippity drop. And once you fell down from the sky into a raindrop, it accumulated into a large mass of water, a large puddle, okay? And that large puddle is the accumulation of the experiences that you went through. And that is the energy of Sagittarius, is representing the experiences that you went through and what you accumulated and gained from that experience in order for you to take it to the next episode or the next level. You know, every level's got a devil. So, you know, once you know this, then you can use your last level for the next devil and so on and so forth. And then bitch, you'll just be like grabbing like shit out of thin air because you didn't even realize that you had that ability to be able to pull shit out of thin air. But in actuality, my video is here to tell you that you are the creator, not the creation. So you can will shit out of thin air, but you know, not in the way the movies show it. It's just in a way of you thinking and feeling in the way that you want to in an instant. Boom, bam, bam. And you can act and you can do and you can, those are you willing things, right? You can make stuff with your hands, right? This is the physical representation, albeit it is slower, but it's still a representation of everything that happens as within, so without, as above, so below, okay? So when you realize that everything is as within, so without, as above, so below, things become quite simple. But if you get lost into science and worldly things and bullshit that's going on in the world, you may think that, you know, they got it all worked out or things have all been blah blah blah, but in actuality, you know, it's really not the case, love. It's really not the case. I just saw my thumbnail that I posted when I shared my video. It looks fucking hilarious. It just literally looks hilarious. I don't think that's the thumbnail on YouTube, but still, that's hilarious. So yeah, when it comes to humans becoming incapableized, all right, this is a disease, this is a mental illness that has taken the world by storm, okay? Nobody knows, everybody knows, but nobody knows because they don't realize how deep it goes, okay? So everybody on their level, they're just like, oh, well, you know, humans are this, humans are that, because everybody seems to be stuck in arguments, right? And they think that it's because, like, people can't agree or blah blah blah, which is part of the reason, but the root problem is that people are stuck in biases, okay? Because there would be no disagreements if people weren't lost into a bias or an ego at the end of the day. So this is why it's important, if you really want to be some agent of change in the world, like biases and ego is one of the main things that people should be attacking, right? Because at the end of the day, a bias and an ego is what keeps us from evolving and growing. You get limited and stuck into a mentality, and then you end up in your life, you don't have anything to do. You're not moving, you're not doing anything, you're not experiencing, you're not growing, so on and so forth. So by getting rid of a bias or an ego, whether it's from you or someone else, which really you should be always attacking your internal, you shouldn't be attacking externally. It goes internal, then external. So if you want to attack something external, attack something internal. So let's say someone's got a bias or ego, you should attack your own bias and your own ego, and that will actually give you the experience, the tools, the knowledge, the wisdom to be able to attack another's bias or ego. But if you try to do it the other way around, you'll probably end up in experiencing a lot of situations that end up like developing into like hard feelings or resentments or like annoyances, little annoyances that all could have been avoided if you had have just attacked your own bias first and learned how to attack your own bias. And then that would have given you a more effective and more peaceful way of attacking the biases that you can see in the external, in the ego realm. Okay. So this is how you can actually break free of certain biases and help others to break free of certain biases. But people say it always starts within. A lot of people don't know how though, you know what I mean? So I'm just telling you like how it is, how it bees, how it does, and how it is. Okay, so once you know that, you'll be able to break free of your biases and break others out of their biases in a lot easier manner without feeling like you have to lift a finger or you have to stress or worry like, oh my gosh, how do I say it? Hope I don't come across as really rude. No, babes. Just attack your own biases. Attack what you want to attack in the outside world. Attack it in your inside world first. And everything bends in from the mental to the physical. So once you start to attack it in the inside world, you're diminishing its hold over you in your internal realm. And it can only bleed out into the external realm. Otherwise, where else would it go? Energy is got to go somewhere, right? The energy goes into your reality, love. So the more you do that, you'll start to bend into actions which will develop to you actually destroying people's egos and or destroying people's biases and so on and so forth, and not in a negative way, in a way that like this person will most likely turn around, either thank you or they just won't even care. The reaction will be completely opposite of what you thought it was, because you may think in your head, oh, like what if I say this, then this person might react and take it personally in this kind of way. But you'll find that if you do it the way that I said, where you attack your internal biases first, you attack your internal egos first. When you go to attack that external ego, because you've done all that inner work, you've got like that consistency energy, you've got that like backing and supporting energy of being able to attack a bias or an ego and defeat it in terms of your internal. So when you go out into the world, you have more success. So you have more of that energy of success to be able to attack any other bias that you already see out in the world. Like, boom. And you'll notice that they just probably won't even care that you even did that. And it may be the exact same actions and maybe the exact same words, maybe the exact same situation as someone else who went through it, but they didn't attack their bias first. They didn't attack their ego first. And so when they went out into the world and did it, it resulted in negative circumstances. It resulted in argument. It resulted in like begrudging energies. Like all those kind of situations is because they didn't do what I'm talking about right here, right now. And I've seen it so many times happen to me in my life. That's why I'm even talking about it, because like the amount of times I've done it and I've looked at the situation, I'm like, how did that completely turn out the opposite direction of how I thought it was going to turn out? And it's always because of the shadow work that you do. It's the inner work that you're doing, right? So the more you attack those internal biases, the more you'll be able to actually attack the biases externally. It's always internal, then external, love. That's what I'm trying to get at. But anyways, when it comes to humans becoming incapablised, right, their bias just becomes like a limitation. If you watch my other video, Limitation is a Biyeetch, this is talking about the similar concept, right? So a bias, an ego, that's like a limitation that you're stuck in. And you may not think that, but in actuality, you know, you can't think or see things in any other way. So mentally, you're stuck into one world, one way of seeing things, one perspective. So that will bend into your physical, and you'll be able to experience situations of you being stuck into one world or being fixated or lost into a bias. So that'll either represent in like you being fixated or stuck in a certain point in your life. You feel like nothing's moving, nothing's growing, nothing's expanding. Or you being fixated or stuck on a certain point of perspective. So this will be like you arguing with people and like both of you are just seen as stubborn. You think the other person's stubborn, they think you're stubborn. But I'm here to tell you, but you're both stubborn and you're both stuck in a bias and an ego at the end of the day. Otherwise, you wouldn't be freaking arguing. No, actually, I will say this. Healthy arguments are a whole different story. But when it comes to negative arguments, like that's a whole different story. The negative, lower octave arguments that are really just either petty or for no reason, or don't actually amount to a more positive outcome. Because I don't want people to think, oh no, arguments is blah blah blah, arguments is bad. And no, at the end of the day, healthy arguments are good and constructive and can help you to grow too. So don't ever get lost into that bias either, you know. So it's all about like not getting lost into biases, really, at the end of the day. And you'll be able to see things a lot clearer, but also that comes with meditation. If you don't meditate, I highly recommend. But you'll be able to see things a lot clearer because you won't be stuck into a mentality. And then this won't result into you being stuck in a situation, a relationship, a way of doing things, a habit, whatever the case may be, because you're now like freeing yourself from biases mentally and you're creating free energy. So the more free energy you have, the more free circumstances and situations you have. This is why children can feel so free and not have to worry about certain responsibilities. They're in that free mindset in general. But as they get older, you know, some children start to develop less free mentalities, feeling trapped and encaged, and then you literally physically begin to... One second, guys. And then you literally physically begin to feel stuck, and you literally physically begin to feel stagnated in certain areas of your life, right? And then you may not notice it or you may not see it because it's happening slowly and it's more something that people can see from the external. But these type of people will end up developing like memory loss circumstances. They will end up developing like limited perspective or limited view of the world. And it creeps up on you slowly. It creeps up on you slowly where you think that you're an open-minded individual. You think that you're a clear-minded individual, but in actuality, you're slowly becoming less and less open-minded. And because you're not open-minded and not able to see the clarity of the situation, you think that you can see the clarity. So your judgment is clouded too. So this is the beginnings of like you becoming incapableized because you've lost yourself into biases. And this is how like majority of the world is, because everybody's stuck into like, oh no, this side or that side or this race or that race or this bloodline and that bloodline and this mentality and that mentality. Like, so everyone's separated and stuck into like one way of thinking, one way of communicating, one way of being, and it's like that one world order type shit. But in actuality, it's all a mental game. It's a mental warfare. So, you know, people may think, oh no, I think differently. I think individually. But even your way of thinking differently and thinking individually may be still in a one world perspective. Because just the fact that like people even believe in, what's it called? People coming from Africa. Like everyone originates from like one person or a group of people in Africa, and like we all come from that. Like that sounds a lot like one world order type shit to me, and I don't believe that shit for one bit. The same way that people can be two different species or an animal from like one continent or country can be born on another continent or country, and like let's say like a polar bear and a grizzly bear, or like a lion and a tiger, or I don't know, I think they're on the same landmass, or like a bird, like the moa in New Zealand. If you guys know that, it's like an extinct bird from New Zealand. It looks like a big emu, and same way the moa in New Zealand can exist, and the emu in Australia can exist, and the ostrich, I think it is, in Africa. I don't know. It's either... No, I might have those ones mixed up. Like it might be ostrich in Australia and emu in Africa. But anyways, regardless, same way all those birds can exist in different countries, but yet they also don't have to be necessarily related. They in science call it convergent evolution. And you know, people may say, "Oh, well, actually, no, they've traced their lineage back to them being related." But I would still argue, no, that like just the fact that convergent evolution can even be a thing, and two different species or two different beings can develop similar traits from different land masses. This is how everything is. Just the same way that you can have hands and fingers and legs, but your way of using your hands, fingers, and legs is completely different to someone else's. You might draw, and they might type a lot with their hands and fingers. So everything bends in from the mental to the physical. But if you don't have the spiritual eye to see it, then you will just think, oh, that we all come from one place, and then that you're stuck in like one world order mind state without even realizing it, which will lead you to this mentality that I'm talking about of feeling incapableized, feeling stuck and fixated into a bias, a certain way of thinking, a certain way of being. And then now you're in like a mental cage, and you think there's only one way or another, I'm gonna find you. Shout out to that lady, I can't remember who it is, Joan, I don't know, but anyways, shout out to that lady. So with the one way or another like mentality, then you're gonna only see things from one way and not the other, because you're just stuck in that thought pattern, you're stuck in that mentality, and you may not realize how deep this is going to take you down a rabbit hole of being fixated, and you may not even correlate or connect the dots with these things. But I'm here to tell you, the whole reason why you feel like your life isn't moving and you're stuck is because of the mentality that you're in the first place. Because you are in a stuck and encaged mentality, and you feel like you're trapped because you trapped yourself mentally first. You trapped yourself in a thought form, a way of being, a way of feeling. You trapped yourself in a certain regret, a certain like image of or idea of how you want things to be. Whatever it was, you trapped yourself in it, bitch. And now you were stuck in it because now you thought that you were that, when in actuality, you were the spirit creating that. Creating the thoughts and the feelings, creating the body, the mind, the body, etc., etc. All right. So the more you start to awaken and realize that, the more you'll be able to step out of these mental forms and be more free and light as a spirit. Otherwise, you can just stay more trapped and stay under layers of thoughts and feelings, layers of mentalities that just keeps you stuck and trapped. And then you probably have like five lives or maybe 100 lives of you just experiencing the same old shit, like a hell type of reality, which ain't nobody want to go through that. But at the end of the day, if that's what it's going to take for people to go through lessons, then that's there for people to be able to go through those lessons and experience it. Like Sagittarius and Mercury, you obviously logically probably wouldn't want to go through any of that, but at the end of the day, Sagittarius requires you to go through the experience to gain the wisdom from what you went through, and to be able to walk out the other end and make sense out of it with that Gemini Mercury, and be able to communicate it and express it to the world. This is how I'm able to express and communicate these certain things on this video right the heck now, because what am I doing? I'm going through the experience first, learning from my experiences, and then I'm able to actually teach and whatever, like spread the knowledge, spread the knowledge and emanate the energies. All right. So yeah, when human beings become stuck in these mentalities, it becomes like a certain physical almost limitation in their mind, where because you're stuck in the mentality and you're not seeing things freely and you're not being open-minded, because you're only seeing things from one area, one avenue, one energy, one perspective, one world. One world order, bitch. You're stuck in the mentality of the one world order. So you're only seeing things from these one world aspects, right? And this will bend into you. I'll literally, say like it's like the best way I can explain it, because it's hard to explain it to words, but the best way I can explain it, it's like there's certain restrictions on your brain to how far your brain can even perceive or see certain things. And this is because of the way your mind is. It's formed and shaped your brain. Like there might be just like a certain brain wave that you have like in your brain. It's like probably like was meant to go like in a certain direction, Like, but actuality, it went like in the opposite direction or something, or just like curled in on itself. It went in on itself. So instead of going straight into the front part of your brain, so you could like interpret it and make sense out of it, it like went on itself. So your brain just like goes like back on itself. It's like resets like a computer or something, like a microchip inside of your brain, and you don't realize like how and that like that plug is like there. It's like plugging and keeping like this like wave from actually being expressed and emanated to the other side of your brain. Like, it's a bit difficult to explain, but it's really like, the most simplest thing someone could say to you in perfect English, like, and you would be like, oh well, I don't know, it just doesn't really make sense. But like, if you guys saw it from my perspective, you would be like, oh my gosh, like, that is actually like, it makes the most sense. Like, how could that not make sense, like, to anyone? Like, you could literally teach a child this. Like, it's like that kind of making sense. Like, a child would be able to learn certain things. But like, that's how the human race is being evolved at this point in time. And I don't want to as well diss anyone or make anyone feel ashamed, because at the end of the day, it's just an observation to see how, like, how things are and why they are the way they are. So if you start to think, oh, why is things the way that they are, you can kind of come back to this video and you can start to realize what the root cause of the issue is, rather than feeling like, things are in the air or feeling uncertain about things. So it's always each one teaches one, each one teach one. But now that you can do better, and you can be maybe a catalyst for change. But at the end of the day, don't put all your eggs into one basket. Like, if people don't want to change, people don't want to change. And like I said, with the brainwave thing, it's a certain level of like certain people, like, maybe not even capable of changing in this lifetime at this point in time. So you kind of just got to let people be where they're at a certain point, and give grace to them, but also realize, like, not to give any of your energy or time towards trying to change that or shift that, because if it was really going to shift, it would shift in its own time and its own energy. And spirits are wise as fuck. So if a spirit is stuck into some mentality or way of being, that spirit is probably trying to teach itself about what something that it needs to be aware of, or it hasn't gone through enough experiences in order to gain a certain awareness that it's trying to achieve or accumulate for itself. So like, it's always important to look at things from like the spirit realm, the mental realm, and the physical realm, not just looking at it from the physical realm and then saying, oh, like, everything's so shit, everything's so bad. No, sometimes things are the way they are because in the spirit realm, the spirit is trying to teach them, use the mind to teach the physical about something that the spirit has always known. But you just may get lost into the physical and think, oh, something bad is happening to me, oh my gosh, my life is this, my life is that. No, honey, your spirit's trying to show you something, but you are just not waking up to that aspect of yourself. But the more experiences people go through, they start to gain that wisdom, they gain that experience, and then you can get to more of a point where you actually feel like you can hold yourself together in a certain way or gain some sense of stability. But a lot of people may be stuck in that point at this time, and this is really not necessarily for those people. This is for the people who aren't stuck in this, that kind of are on the outside looking in and just thinking, oh, what the fuck is going on? Just like, you guys aren't alone at the end of the day. And like, even if you feel like you are alone, like, that's some shadow work you need to do at the end of the day. So check yourself. I'm here to check you, so you can check yourself, and I'll check myself, because I already know how to check myself. Otherwise I wouldn't be here checking you in the first place. True. So at the end of the day, the more you start to pay attention to these aspects, it kind of gets a little bit hard to see, hard to unsee it kind of situation, because you're like, okay, well, like, there's a certain level that humanity is at that I can't really control or make better at this current point in time with the current tools that I have. But maybe there's no saying that in the future, like always be open to the possibilities. Since this goes back to the start of the video, don't get lost into a bias or a way of thinking or seeing things. Yeah, things are the way that they are. Always acknowledge that. That's also about seeing things clearly. But, beyond that as well, don't get stuck and fixated into that way of seeing things either. Because at the end of the day, anything could change at any moment, love. So, there's always new things happening every single day. Maybe the same kind of situations, but there may be new ways of going about that situation. And the more you're open to the possibilities and keep your mind and your soul open, mind and soul, that's pretty much the same thing, mind, soul. Keep your soul open, then you'll be able to see and perceive more of that possibility that I'm talking about. But if you're stuck in a bias and you're stuck in an ego, then you're only going to see that ego and that bias, that light, and that's a form of getting lost into the Lucifer, lost into the light. That's what it's all about when it comes to Lucifer in the Bible. It's about being lost into that light, lost into that way of being, and you can only see things from one way. And you're like in that opposite where Lucifer wants to be like God, but in actuality, God is limitless. God is like all possibilities. It's not limited. And that's why God itself is kind of a tainted word in general, because it's limiting the all possibility space as a whole. Because you can say, oh, God is creator, but God itself is just a created term to represent what we're all talking about, which is all possibilities or no thing. And that really shouldn't even have a name. Because at the end of the day, you're putting a name to something that is shapeless and formless, something that is like it isn't represented by anything in the physical. Only things in the physical can emulate certain aspects or traits of what it has or what it is. This is why in the Bible it says we are made in the image of God. So as you being your space, you being no thing, but you have an awareness, so you're in a mind. Then a mind has become like condensed. That's like a heavy version of your awareness that's condensed and created. So, but whenever you separate from mentalities and ways of thinking, you jump into another mentality. But that's that moment as well, because everything kind of happens like in an instant where you are separating from a mentality. So you are in that space of no thing, aka you're connected to all possibilities or God. Before you existed as a spirit, not being aware, being in non-existence, before you actually created your awareness and started to exist. A lot of people may not believe that shit, but at the end of the day, I always look at things as a life situation. So when it comes to life, it's like you wake up and you already know when you're born. Once you start to become aware, that's the moment that you start to sort of exist to yourself in a sense. But before that, you're just like a baby. You're just very like limited awareness. So these are representations physically as we're growing up from a child to an adult of how we build our awareness as a spirit. And this is why, as a child, you may not be so aware, but then as you get more to an adult, you start to become aware and conscious of a lot of different things. That's like a literal physical representation of what the spirit does. Except the spirit starts from a space of not being aware at all. It's a non-existent space. And then it becomes aware, and once it becomes aware, its awareness starts to grow and expand. So these are representations of all of our existence. Everything bends in from the mental to the physical type scenario, where you can actually see it playing out on all areas of life. So you can't debunk shit, because at the end of the day, I'm spitting facts. But if you're incapableized, like I'm saying at the start of the video, you're mentally incapableized, then your brainwave can only reach to a certain point where you can't actually perceive certain things of what I'm talking about. And that's not to shame anyone. I'm just telling you how it is, so you know where you're at. Because at the end of the day, we all need to kind of raise our awareness, raise our perspective. And it's important because like things are moving fast now. Like people are starting to become more aware fast now. If you miss the shift, you end up in a species of a whole bunch of beings that yeah, anyways, I don't want to get too much into that, but yeah, it's we're shifting, we're changing, we're evolving, we're growing, we're always going through a shift, always going through a change, always going through an evolving period. But right now it's pretty getting a bit rapid, it's getting a bit fast, okay? And that's why you see a lot of people becoming more aware, becoming more open, optimistic, broad-minded about things these days, and focusing on their purpose, focusing on themselves, helping to grow themselves and their family and their community, or at least trying to. You know, a lot of people ain't ready for that shit. But at the end of the day, just the fact that people are even thinking about it is a step in the right direction in general. So you need to look at things as they are, but we ain't there yet. So, you know, it may take a good amount of time for humanity to become unincapableized, because as well everything bends in from the mental to the physical. So it may just be that certain species and certain people on this earth are literally just physically incapable because they haven't developed a sufficient enough organ, which I would argue that's probably like a large chunk of the world in general, just from my experiences myself. And there's certain things that I've always been aware of as a spirit going through life, that I look around in certain aspects of my life and I'm like, how can you not be aware of that? There also may be certain things that other people are like, how can you, me, not be aware of certain things that they may be aware of? Okay, this is where we all come together and we start to teach each other and help each other to grow. You know, I show you what I'm aware of. Now you're able to be aware of that yourself, and you're able to grow and expand in that area too, and vice versa. And then we can all grow and expand our whole atmosphere, start to evolve, and fucking get out of this heavy ass freaking reality that people just get so sick of because they've trapped themselves mentally first. But at the end of the day, you know, that's only going to happen with teamwork makes the dream work. So if only a few people do that, only a few people will go, because that's only teamwork makes the dream work that they put in. You know, you put in what you get out. You get out what you put in. So if you only put in a little bit or none at all, what makes you think you're going to get anything out of it, love? So, you know, raise the awareness, raise the consciousness, raise it, raise it, raise it, raise it, raise it, raise it, hey, raise it, raise it, raise it, hey, raise it. You know I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Raise your awareness. You know I'm not scared of this, bish. Bish, 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 bish. Yes, I'm the bish. Yes, I'm the bish. Okay, so, you know, as long as you stay aware of these kind of stuff that I'm talking about, or, you know, start to be more aware of certain things that I'm talking about, you know, you don't have to necessarily be exactly aware of the same exact things that I'm talking about all the time, you know, but it's just about, like, now that I've taken you to the space of where you're able to see things for what they are, now you can kind of make your own cup and start to develop your own mind about seeing things where they are. But that takes time, it takes accumulation, it takes energy work, takes effort, it takes thoughts and feelings, paying attention, using your creation energy, your awareness to be consciously aware of what you want to create, okay? And so the more you put time and energy into that, you will create it and you will see it, and you will be in more of a position to be able to actually make a difference in your life and maybe others, possibly more, you know, maybe just yours. But at the end of the day, we're all at our own level and we're all teaching and growing and learning at our own level. So just embrace it, go with it, work with your skills, work with what you've got, your gifts and your talents. And if your gifts and talents ain't shit, or your gifts and talents, you know, they're just like negative and they really don't help anyone, like maybe you're just a like depressed or really mentally ill individual, and you know that if you were to share your gifts and talents, it may be coded and embraced and encapsulated with your depression and so on and so forth. Maybe listen to that intuitive part of yourself to go within and do some healing work, do that shadow work, go behind closed doors, don't put yourself in the front, you know, keep the people in the front that have actually, you know, gone through that tunnel. And when you're ready to come out of that tunnel for you, that's when you come out and you can be the people in the front, and then you can also have that position of you telling other people to go to the front once they're done doing their shadow work, and we all each one teach one, it all becomes like a domino effect. Now everyone's going and doing their shadow work, everyone's going behind closed doors healing themselves, and now everyone's able to come out and be like, no, I healed myself, I went through this journey, and I'm here to tell you the story today. Okay, and I'm here to tell you the story today that humans have become incapableized. And the more you do your shadow work, the more you break free of limitations, the more you get out of that cage in your mind, the more you'll be able to not be incapableized in life, and you'll be able to be free as a spirit and light, and not be so encaged in a mentality, a way of thinking, a way of feeling, a way of doing things. It all starts mentally. So, if you're mentally ill, then you will be mentally ill in terms of your situations, and the situations that come into your life may make you feel ill, even to that point. You know what I mean? Or you may just get sick a lot because mentally you're not in the right space, and you're developing a whole bunch of thoughts and feelings that are toxic to your mind, right? And then that bends into your your physicality, and all of a sudden now you've got eaten a whole bunch of things, or you've gone to a place that is toxic to your physical body, and now you start to feel sick and you start to vomit and purge because your body is like, oh my gosh, why did you feed me this? But it all started from your mind, love. So if you didn't feed that to your mind first, that thought to your mind, that feeling to your mind, then you wouldn't have had to go through that situation of feeling sick, of feeling X, Y, Z. But a lot of people may think that that's bullshit, but yet every single day they know that they can, that you can overthink yourself and develop a headache, right? Or that you can overthink and develop or like start to feel heavy shoulders or tense shoulders. It's the same kind of mechanism, but that's just a small version of it, where you're able to tense up your muscles, or your hair's able to fall out from you like being stressed. All of these things is talking about the same kind of mechanism, the same kind of situation, and it's that your mentality bends into your physical reality. So you are the only one to blame when it comes to you being spiritually aware of these things. You start to realize, oh my gosh, like I really am creating my reality, and I really did make myself upset. I really did make myself sick. I really did make myself blah blah blah. But it takes a strong spirit to be able to actually acknowledge that and not let it get to them and fall into a shame cycle, because you may be going through your life and you may have cooked up so many logical thoughts, so many feelings, so many mentalities about why it's okay that you are the way that you are because life has done X, Y, and Z to you. But when you turn it around and you realize, actually, life didn't do anything to me. I made a whole bunch of choices and thoughts and feelings that led me to do certain actions that led my life to this point. And then you'll start to realize that in actuality, I created this whole circumstance for myself. But now you know how to get out of it. That's the most important part, because you know how you created it. So now you know how to get the fuck out of it. Now start making the steps to actually get out of it. Otherwise, you're just going to be bitching and complaining for no reason and not making an actual effort to get out of the thing that you're bitching and complaining about. So really, do you love bitching and complaining? Is that what it is? I think that is a lot of people in this earth that just love bitching and complaining. And I know this from my own personal experience. I was a bitch half my life. I was a bitch half my life. I was bitching and complaining about all kinds of stuff because I thought, oh, this needed to be bitched about. This needed to be complained about. But what was I doing about it, though? I'll give you a hint. It was nothing. Nothing. Except for maybe going to a protest, which at the end of the day, protest is a psyop. If you think that protest is actually helping or making a difference in the world, then you need to realize, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure some certain protests and certain actions that people do at protests might have a sway in certain situations with the way people think, because at the end of the day, humans are humans, People are going to be influenced by certain actions and thoughts and feelings that other humans be pushing out. But, for the most part, it's all pushing a narrative. And remember, it's filtered to you through the news. That protest is filtered to you through the news. So your perspective is already pre-wired and pre-programmed by the news outlet to see the protest in a certain way, to have a certain perspective about the protest. And you may think, oh, but I'm actually seeing the protest as negative. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. They want you to see the protest as negative. or they want you to think about it in any other way other than an equilibrium perspective, which is what I'm teaching here right now. Which is why they won't put me on no algorithm at the moment, because I just be spitting facts and real shit about real life that a lot of people don't talk about, because they don't want this stuff in the forefront. Because if everyone knew this, they would actually have some sense and they wouldn't get lost into the world and the lies that the news tries to put up there, the lies that the politicians try to put up there, whatever the case may be. Because when you look at it from non-bias and look at it for what it is, seeing it from a neutral perspective, seeing both sides, not just one side of it, then you're able to actually see, at the end of the day, unbiasedness is one of the many things that could actually save you from a lot of situations that you thought that it took a bias for you to actually save yourself, because you thought if you use that bias to as a weapon, as a sword, that it would actually save you. But in actuality, if you use the non-biased energy as a weapon or a sword, you'll realize that that's one of the sharpest swords you could use. I swear. That is probably the sharpest sword you can use. A lot of people don't even know that, but it is one of the sharpest swords you can actually use in your life. But if you don't actually use it or try it out, then you may think, oh, he's just talking shit. Oh yeah, maybe what he's saying is true. I'm here to tell you, love. I'm here to tell you everything I say is pretty much true. I mean, there is certain things that I will say, like I might be flunked out in, because at the end of the day, I'm not perfect. I'm not no angel for me to even go through certain situations in life that led me to be in certain lost aspects of my life. But that's for me to know and you to find out. But, being able to rise out of them, I developed and utilized my own angelic qualities. So I'm able to rise above things and fly above certain situations that other people may just sink under and fall under, and may think, oh my gosh, like what is happening to me? The happening is that you got lost into your lower natures. You got lost into a bias. You got lost into a desire. You got lost into a way of seeing things. You got lost into a Lucifer, a light. And then you got stuck into that Lucifer and you weren't able to see anything any other way because you was blinded by the light. Okay, shout out to The Weeknd, even though I don't really listen to him. And but you were blinded by the light and you didn't see anything else. That's why they even put those things in the forefront, like blinded by the light. That's popular for a reason. Is because the shadows, the people who be making things popular, they want you to be blinded by the light. They want you to be lost into that Lucifer. You know what I mean? So the more you're lost into that light and that Lucifer, the more you're incapableized mentally, and the more you actually go out into the world and you feel in need. You feel like you got to go out and reach or try and do anything you can for $1 so that you can achieve some kind of moolah or some kind of success in their world. That's why they want you lost into the light, because if you're lost into the light, you'll go out into the world, you'll see all those shiny sparkling lights at Christmas time, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. And then that'll lead you to spend $5,000 on your kids, and then you turn around and say, oh my gosh, I'm broke. Why did I do that to myself? Because you allowed yourself to get lost into a lie, a Lucifer, and now you're stuck in a mentality and a bunch of responsibilities that you created for yourself. So if you want to get free, if you want to get loose, if you want to get being, then you better start seeing what I'm telling you. But, if you don't want to see, that's okay. I'm just going to be. But, Sagittarius moon, that's for me. And I don't want you to not fucking see. So, sorry guys, I was just checking my phone. I don't know, that was a little bit of a lonked moment for me there. I shouldn't be checking my phone during the video because I don't like to, but sometimes shit happens, and with Sagittarius and Mercury, shit be happening, and with Sagittarius in the sun, shit is happening, okay? But me being a Taurus Gemini cusp, I'm the opposite of Sagittarius, so it's important to know your opposite sign. Well, Gemini is the opposite of Sag. It's important to know your opposite sign in astrology, because that is the opposing energy, and when we are in that season, you may be experiencing a lot more difficult circumstances that you may not realize is due to the fact that you're acting in the opposite energy to the as above, so below, or as within, so without energies. You know what I mean? So, but if you don't know what I mean, If you don't know what I mean, that's perfectly fine. I'm not here to explain and baby feed you. I'm just here to shoot the message like the messenger, Gemini, Mercury, the Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel kind of energy, you know, coming from the southeast part of the world. Shout out to Dollar to Parliament on YouTube. If you want to learn more about archangels and the actual knowledge and the actual wisdom, and not that shadow government shit that everyone's trying to push, go to Dollar to Parliament. Reason why you haven't even heard of him is because they are literally trying to attack his channel right now and trying to make him out to be a person that he's not, when in actuality he's the most woke, the most spiritual, the most greatest, the most highest, the most closest to all possibilities, the most closest to no thing that you could get in this realm. So if you want to actually learn some real wisdom, real knowledge, not some fake ass shit that the shadow government should be trying to push, then check out Dollar to Parliament. If you just want to stay lost and blinded by the light, then, you know, check out anybody else on YouTube that's not related to Dollar to Parliament or doesn't watch him in some way, shape, or form. So yeah. But when you realize the things that I've told you on this video, you'll realize that humanity has become incapableized. Okay, so don't get incapableized. Don't get lost into a bias. Don't get stuck and fixated into your way of thinking or way of seeing things. Remember to be open. Remember to jump into more of that space of all possibilities. Don't have expectations. Too many expectations. Don't have too many thoughts and feelings before going into experience. Be light and free as a spirit, you know, don't, what I was just saying. The more you'll be able to be closer to that space of no thing. And you'll be experiencing more energies of things being like no thing. So everything you thought in reality that was like something, or it was a big thing for you to like moan about or cry about, you'll realize that it really wasn't nothing all along. But you just made it into something because you are the creator, not the creation. All right. Now,